Yeah, she looks like a car, doesn't she? Yes, she's almost done, guys. Welcome to the next episode, hopefully the last one of the 1970 TR6 restoration on the Rusty Beauties channel. So in the last episode, we worked mostly on the soft top, I believe. We changed the glass and we installed the old soft top. We did some repairs here and there, but it is a temporary fix. Next year, John is gonna get it replaced with a brand new one. But for now, for the end of the season, he's gonna use the old one, which is not in a bad shape. It's actually great. The seats are in the car now. There's few little things inside that we have to finish. We have to change those knobs. We have a brand new set. We have to install a plastic over there, whatever that is called. And we have to install a switch for the electric fan in the front, and the rest is I think in the engine bay. So without further ado, let's get crack-a-lacking. Okay, so off camera I've already done a little bit of work here. I installed this washer fluid bottle. I haven't tested it yet. I have to fill it up with windshield wiper fluid, and we're gonna test it to see how it works. I installed that reservoir, the expansion tank if you want to call it, and I run these hoses here through the bottom of the carburetors, the manifolds, because I had a trouble at some point. The car started running like crap. When I attached the manifolds underneath, they were super cold, like literally cold. It was probably 25 degrees outside Celsius, but they were like freezing my hand. So I realized that we need to run heater coils through them. They have the input and output on each manifold on the side. So what I did was I cut this hose and I put a T here, so it runs through this manifold just like it runs through this manifold. Now we have a heater hose through the other at the bottom. This one in the middle, unfortunately I didn't have enough green hose, so I put a black one there. This one is different color green hose but it matches more or less. And then it comes out here and it joins here the return hose from the heater core inside the car. That worked well. So today we have a little bit more work in the engine bay. We need to take this cover off, torque the head, for which we have to remove the rockers. Once we remove the rockers, we're gonna torque the head, we're gonna put them back on, we're gonna adjust the valves once again. Another thing is we have this charcoal canister, which I don't think it's from this car because TR6 doesn't have this kind of bracket. So we have to figure out some bracket and install it somewhere so we can run a hose from the valve cover into the charcoal canister. We don't have a return hose for the fumes to the gas tank, so we're just gonna use one of these and the rest is gonna be just unplugged, but it is what it is. And then of course, after we adjust valves and everything, we still have to tune up the carbs. They're running super rich right now. We're gonna tune them, we're gonna install the air cleaners, and we're done here. The rest, I think also inside I forgot to mention, we have to change the steering wheel with another one that John has, and the rest is here in the boot. We need to install these nice panels that we got for all around the boot, and the two seal moldings underneath. We need to install the chrome moldings there, and that's everything, I think. So it is a lot of work, but I'm hoping that I can finish it today so we can give the car to John tomorrow, finally. And this is a question that has been asked very often. How do you torque the studs that are under the rocker shaft? Well, easy peasy, you remove it. There's no other option, you have to remove the rocker shaft. So the torque value here is 80 foot-pounds, and this engine has been rebuilt like probably 4 or 5 years ago, if not more, I don't remember. And only now we are retorquing the head, but that's fine. the engine hasn't run at all until we started it a few months ago. So let's see. Wow, actually we have really, wow, that was a lot. Anyway, interesting, some are giving more, some are giving less. Now we can put the rocker shaft back with the rockers, and we can adjust the valves. And then we're gonna install our new cover that we have. Alright, so the valves are adjusted now, the new cover is installed finally. It's been sitting in its package for 5-6 years, I don't know. Finally it's installed. What else? The battery hold down is installed. This is the part that drives me crazy, when where the hold down is so close to the positive terminal, but believe me, it's not gonna touch. Like it is thin sheet metal, it's not gonna go up. There's no way this is gonna go down. It's only when you're tightening and loosening this with a wrench, that's when it's possible to touch here. But that's the design, unfortunately, in these cars. That's why I prefer a battery with terminals here in the back. I don't know why we always get terminals in the front. Put them here in the back, nothing is in the way there. When I told John what battery to buy, that's what I described. I wanted him to buy a battery with the terminals in the back, but probably with my English I couldn't explain it well. And we ended up with this battery, which is the standard for Triumph TR6. That's how it is. I just go against the standard and go backwards, which for me is safer. Oh, the other thing is the canister. I don't know, I'm gonna leave that for later. For now, I'm just gonna leave that port open. Maybe I'm gonna run a hose down. I just want to finish the car sooner rather than later. So this, something needs to be modified here, and we're gonna figure it out. So in the engine bay, I think we are done for now, other than tuning up the carbs. But for that, I want to move the car over there so we can have the exhaust pointing out. But before we move it, maybe we should use the opportunity that we are here at the lift. I just need to sweep a little bit. I spilled lots of coolant when I was doing the hoses. So I'm gonna sweep, I'm gonna put her on the lift, I'm gonna lift her in the air, and we're gonna deal with these seal moldings at the bottom. And after they are done, then we're gonna move the car, and we're gonna start tuning up the carbs. And we're getting close. Yay! All right, she's in the air, and here we have the molding, brand new. We bought brand new moldings, so it fits right here. Don't want to scratch the car, so we're gonna make it so it covers the transition from red to black. Maybe a little bit lower, because I don't want it to stick too far up, so it's not gonna be equal parts of the red and the black. We're gonna cover more of the black, but we're gonna cover also a little bit of the red, so we hide the transition. These are the rivets, special rivets that came with it. I'm assuming once it is in, just gonna click inside this channel. So they come, I believe, 7 per side. I bought 8 just in case per side. And we're gonna have equal spacing here. We're gonna drill holes, and then we're gonna click it, and then we're gonna clip it in place like this. So let's see how well it's gonna click. Looks like it needs to have about ½ an inch in the front, ½ an inch in the back. Yay, that's actually nice and solid. Oh. Wow. Well, that's nice and solid. Of course, we have the common problem with Triumphs right here. You see, it is floating a little bit in the air, because the fenders, how they overlap, you can never make it work perfectly. I tried with every car I work on, I tried to make it just nice and smooth transition here from the seal to the fender and in the back, but it never works perfectly. So it is what it is. I've seen people bending the moldings so they can touch the body. I think it's better if you leave them floating, because it makes for a straight molding, right? Anyway, let me install the other one. So it's time to tune the carbs, and before I start doing that, I wanted to do a quick test drive so I can have the feel of the car before, so I can compare it with the after. But of course, as I started moving cars around, I brought Nick's Miata in here, and it started raining. My luck. But anyway, I had a very quick speedy drive, and it actually feels pretty good. Has torque, power, all that. So I'm just gonna hook it up to my scope, the canceller too, just to inspect quickly the ignition system. But I believe the ignition is set pretty well already. So after a quick view with the scope, we're gonna jump right on the carburetors and adjust that, because I know for a fact that it is running very rich. It smells rich and the spark plugs are fouled. So we definitely want to adjust that. All right, so she's hooked up to the scope, and I'm not going to explain too much about this scope. I've done it in other videos, so I'm just going to go through the menus here quickly, and I'm going to tell you what the numbers or the graphs need to look like, and we will see if we are good or not. But if you want to know more why these numbers need to be there, why the graphs need to look like that, then I'm going to put a link here to a video where it shows how this works exactly. So primary menu, that shows you what happens in the primary ignition system, which is the 12-volt part of the ignition system. So from the battery through the ignition switch to the coil to the primary winding, from the coil to the points or electronic ignition in this case. So that's our primary ignition system. So in this we can find whether our points work well or the electronic ignition works well, and whether the primary winding of the coil works well. No, we're interested in the part from here to here. So this is where the points close. We have a little voltage drop. We have a straight line all the way to here. That's when the points open, and that creates this spike in the voltage. We have pretty good graph here for all 6 cylinders. Sometimes if we have points and the points bounce, then you see spikes here in this line or stuff. Here we're good. And what else in the primary? We can check the dwell. So here it shows you the dwell in degrees for all the cylinders, and this is in percent. And the dwell, as you can see here, it's very nice and consistent, and that's because we have electronic ignition inside. And that's everything for the primary menu. That's duty cycle, that's if we have injection fuel system or whatever. So secondary menu, secondary ignition system is the part that involves secondary winding of the ignition coil. So from here going into the distributor cap. The distributor cap itself is part of the secondary ignition system. The rotor inside the distributor, the wires as well, and the spark plugs. So this is our secondary ignition system. That's what we can check with these menus. Here we can check, let's start with burn time graph that shows you the time in milliseconds in which we sustain spark inside each of the cylinders, and that number should be between 1.5 and 2 milliseconds. And this shows you live. Let's clear it again. So this shows you live at this particular moment, but this shows you the minimum time for this cylinder and the maximum that we experienced so far. So we can see that it is very nice and consistent. So if we have more than 2 milliseconds or less than 1.5, then this might be caused by fouled spark plugs or by wrong timing or many other reasons. But here we're good. Then we can check the kV. So kV is the voltage in kilovolts that the ignition coil builds up just before it fires a spark into each of the cylinders. Yeah, I would say that's pretty good. What else can we check in the secondary? kV histograph that shows you 256 consecutive firings per cylinder, how much kV it built. So you can see here it varies between 10 and 18 or whatever. Sometimes it goes below 10 here even. So that's cylinder 1, cylinder 2, cylinder 3, but we have a pretty consistent. Sometimes you see spikes here that shows you that this cylinder misfires or something, but number 4, 5 and 6 are much more consistent, where 1, 2 and 3 they're varying more. So that tells me that the front carb, the one that is responsible for first, second and third cylinder, has something to do with that. I'm guessing because that's the only common part between 1, 2 and 3, and then 4, 5 and 6. And finally, last but not least, in the secondary menu we can check the waveform, which is the most important. So this looks pretty much the same as the primary waveform, except here we're looking at this part from the moment the points open, which initiates this spike into the voltage in the secondary winding, and then this is where we fire a spark, and then the voltage drops, and it needs to be consistent for our 1.5 to 2 milliseconds. That's the time in which we have spark sustained inside the cylinder. Once the spark extinguishes, then the voltage rises a little bit and then oscillates down to 0 until the points close again. And that's all. So this is important. Let me widen it a little bit. So waveform size, let's make it wider, like that. It's important, this line, to be nice and consistent here, straight. No, you see, just something just happened there in number 3. But it's not a declining line or it's not increasing line. There's no crazy oscillations or anything. It is nice and straight line. Let's go through all the cylinders. Number 1, 2, 3, 4. See, in 4 something is happening. I'm assuming that's because the spark plugs are a little bit fouled. 5, 6. So you see the rear carburetor, so the last 3 cylinders. Number 4, you see what's happening here? These oscillations at the end, that shows unburned fuel, I think, at the end, but we will see. That means that we sustain a spark, and here at the end, the spark extinguishes and goes on and off for a while. But I think this has to do with the spark plugs being fouled now, because I know for a fact I took them out to adjust the valves and they were fouled, black fouled, which means we are running pretty rich. So this tells me that our ignition system is pretty good. There's nothing else that we need to do about it. We need to go and adjust the carburetors. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna deal with the carburetors now, and we're gonna go for a test drive. Alright, so these are Weber carburetors, 3236, I believe, downdraft, and I'm not really familiar with the setup. but I have a paper that David Tushingham gave me, which describes a little bit about the setup process, and based on that we know that we have the idle screw here. It controls the linkage, that's simple, but the mixture screw is right here on the side. I don't know if you see it here. It says idle mixture screw, so is it only for the idle? I guess so, but what it says, it only describes the procedure for one single carburetor, and here we have two. So we're going to start by synchronizing them to act as if we have one carburetor, and for that I'm going to use my snail and this adapter, which is 3D printed apparently, and it has all the slopes here that are needed for the choke plates here. So let's see what it's going to show. It fits. Okay, so here we have 5, 6. So this is the idle, and this is the other chamber, which is opening after probably 2/3 of the throttle pedal. Usually the linkage only operates this side, this chamber, this throttle, and when you're probably 2/3 of the travel of the linkage, that's when you operate also the other throttle, which is for the second chamber. So here on the second chamber we still have 2, whatever that these units are, kilograms per hour, and here we have 6. So let's see the other part. And here we have 1. Here we have 8. So what we can do is loosen this linkage from here and adjust the idle screw on both carburetors to be the same. This linkage is loose now, so now if we adjust this throttle, that's not going to be affected. So that's 7. And that's 7. Okay, so we're going to tighten the linkage in this position. Now both carburetors, the linkage is sitting on the idle screw. Good. Here is 7. And this one is still 7. So we are perfect now. And now that they are synchronized, we can adjust the idle if we want to. I'm going to lower it a little bit, but now I'm going to turn the 2 screws the same amount. So, quarter here, and quarter here. Okay, that's a good idle. And for the mixture, they say you have to tighten the screw. I'm gonna get rid of this for now. It's in my way. Didn't think of that. So we're gonna close the screws all the way. We're gonna hit the bottom for the mixture. And then I'm gonna open them 2 full turns each. Half, 1, 1/2, 2. That's pretty much where we were, but half, 1, 1.5, 2. Okay. And then it says to start the engine and start tightening the screws again, 1/4 at a time. until the engine starts running rough and all that, and then start again by quarter turns, backing them out until the engine starts improving, and that's all. So let's try that. So now it runs well, but I'm gonna tighten quarter turn. That's 1/4. Nothing. Okay. 2/4. Nothing. 3/4. Nothing. Okay. Let's do 4/4. Okay. So we tightened it by 1 full turn each, and it is getting bad. So now we're gonna loosen 1/4 turn. And that's it. So now both screws are 1 and 1/4 out. So I think that's where we're gonna leave it. Then we're gonna go for a test drive. I'm gonna do pretty long test drive to make sure that it runs well. Then we're gonna come back and we're gonna check the spark plugs, and we will see what the spark plugs are telling us, because that's what I trust. But I think we should be where we want to be. Okay, we have the license plate on, and I had to put the top on because it's gonna, like, it is drizzling. You can't even see it raining, but it's like a fog. So anyway, I don't care. I'm gonna go for a test drive because we wanna tune up those carbs. There's a Bulgarian saying that when it's raining on an important day, this means that it's gonna go like I think in the English version it's like it goes like on butter or something, but in Bulgaria we say water, so it's a good sign. That's what I'm trying to say. So the first kind of longish drive, I'm not gonna go too far. I put a tool set in the trunk just in case, but I'm gonna go around the block maybe multiple times. I'm gonna drive few kilometers. I want to put at least 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers on it, but I'm not gonna go too far. I'm just gonna stay around the block here just in case, you know. So here goes nothing. Wow. Wow, she actually drives fantastic. I love it. Maybe we should go to the gas station. We have lots of volts though. Alright, we're back. Like you see, inside it looks as if it is raining a lot. But look, the bonnet is not even wet. The windshield is wet. Water started flying inside, but everything else is dry. So either I was driving too fast so the droplets can't reach me, or it's not really raining. So anyway, we're back. I think I did like 7-8 kilometers. I don't know how much I did. So let's check the spark plugs, but I think we're gonna have to go one more time. Oh well, I think we are too lean now, surprisingly. Believe me, they were black. I didn't show you before, but they were black. Now looks like we're too lean, maybe. Well, some of them are getting some color, but I think we're gonna enrich it. Enrich it, is that a word? Enriching it, or make it richer a little bit. So we're gonna turn, probably not even quarter, we're gonna turn it 1/8 of a turn in, or sorry, out. So here it is righty leany, lefty reachy, right? Because the more you turn it in, the more you close the hole, and the more you turn it out, the more you open. So I'm just gonna turn it 1/8 of a turn, and we're gonna put the air cleaners as well this time, and we're gonna go for another ride, and then we're gonna check one more time. We're gonna play a little bit with it until we have the perfect color on the spark plugs. But that's my best way so far to adjust the air fuel mixture. I only trust the spark plug. I don't trust other methods, but it looks like this method I described in this paper worked pretty well, so I'm happy. All right, so along with the air cleaners, I realized that I have to install also the canister, the charcoal canister, because on the air cleaners at the bottoms there was a hole on each of them, and they also came in the package with all the hardware. There was also this fitting for a hose. So this is how the 70 and I believe 71 TR6s worked. The vent of the valve cover was going to the charcoal canister over there, and the charcoal canister for 70 and 71 only has 2 ports here. This one has more, so it's either from a later car or from a Spitfire or something like that, but it doesn't really matter because we plugged this one port and I plugged this one. This one is normally for the anti-run-on valve for the later cars. So we only use 2 ports, one in, one out. The vent from the valve cover goes into the charcoal canister, gets purified or whatever is happening there with the charcoal, and then the air or whatever there is into the air comes through these through this hose, splits and goes to one carburetor, then to the other, right into the air cleaner. So the unburned fuel that's still in the mixture, like, you know, even new engines, they always have blow-by, a little bit of blow-by. So in that blow-by, there's unburned fuel, which can go back into the carburetors and get back in to be recycled. So that's done now, and it became here lots of hoses, but it is working well now. So now we can put the top of the thing up there. The top of the cleaner goes like this, and then we have these clamps that go on the side. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it one-handed. Oh yeah. No, I need 2 hands for that. So anyway, I'm gonna put this on. Let me put the other one just so you can see it almost finished. Like that. Yeah, I actually start to really like these downdraft carburetors, the Webers. People don't like them. For me, I think this car runs great with them. But again, I haven't driven it a lot, so I don't know, but it seems to be running pretty well. So that's here. Inside, I was able to install this part that I couldn't find before. Now it is installed nice and clear. There must be a light here, but it's not connected. There's no light right now. I replaced these knobs now. Now they look fantastic. Installed this knob. John had a full entire set of these. And what else did I do here? Oh, I was able to actually finally fasten that the dip switch for the lights, and I installed this switch here for the radiator fan, the electric fan, and changed the steering wheel. So it's not a new steering wheel, but it's a smaller one, and John had it and he prefers this one, and that's all. The horn works. The horn works now, and yeah, I think that's all for now for inside. I'm pretty sure there was something else that I wanted to do. Oh yeah, I remember. I need to install a cable that I have now. So we need to take the ashtray out and drill a hole and run a cable, a USB from here to here for John to charge his phone. And that's everything for the interior. So now we are left with the trunk only. But it is dark outside, so I think we should go for a quick test drive in the dark now to see how the headlights work, because yeah, we haven't done that yet. Wow, I'm actually surprised how well the lights are regulated. Like, I haven't touched them, like I just slapped them there, but I really like how they are. This is the small light, but you see how they are limited. They're not too low, they're not too high, and this is the high beam, which is great. I actually love it. So there's no need to regulate anything. I'm just gonna leave them like that. Well, that's great. Look at this dash. Perfect. Okay, we're going for a night ride. We came to the gas station for the first refueling of this car, official on a gas station for the last, I don't know, 30 years or so. All right, so it's the next day. It was a nice drive last night. I actually enjoyed it really in the dark. Yeah, so she drives great. Anyway, today is the day when we're gonna be done. We have to finish this car. So the last job that I know of, at least for now, before the car gets picked up tomorrow, is the trunk panel kit, or the boot liner panels, or whatever they are called. We have the hardware, we have the panels themselves, and we have a light. I already hooked up the wires here, so there's a switch down there that connects this wire to ground. This is purple and white. It just connects it to ground when the boot is open, and then this switch to ground comes here. You see, it makes a loop, comes here to one side of the light. The other side has constant power, which is the purple. You better test that, whether it is working or not. And once it receives ground from the switch, the light comes on. So let me test that, and then we're gonna just install the panels, which I don't think I'm gonna hold you up here for. It just, we're gonna utilize these old clamps here. There are little clips here. We have to install more here and everywhere, and we're just gonna zip it. That's all. I don't remember what this was for, but it's bent, and I'm just gonna leave it like that for now, because if it's not needed, there's no point of having it there sticking up. But everything else is done. Wiring here is done everywhere, so we can cover everything up. Yep, light is on. Let's see if it is gonna turn off. Yep, light is off, but we don't know if it is gonna turn off when we close. Okay, let's close the boot and see. Is it off? I can see it. You tell me. Oh yeah, I can see. I can actually see myself through the little gap before it is completely closed, that it's working. So we're good. Let me install the panels now. All right, it's all installed. Actually, these panels fit. Actually, these panels fit pretty well. I remember I used another kit. I don't remember where it was from, for another car, and it was like really bad. This one came from Moss Motors, and it is a perfect fit. So what's important to know only is the order in which we install them. It is a pretty straightforward process, that's why I didn't film it, but then I realized that maybe I should have, because the order in which you put the panels in is important. So what I do is I screw these together. So this one, let me turn the light on. So this panel here has a lip that goes this way, a flange. On this flange we put one of these little clips, and this panel is screwed to these clips. So these two panels are only held to each other here. They're not held to anything else. And I think here that's the only part where it doesn't fit very well. I think this was supposed to curve a little bit more, and there's a hole here that needs to match a hole here, but there's no hole here in the back, or there is right here, but that won't close, you see, because these two panels are held to each other. So that's the first step. You put these two panels together, and then you put the front end of this panel over there, and this panel also has a flange going this way. So this one goes there, the flange comes here, and the hole matches the little clip in the back. Then you push this end in, and this follows here, and then you can match these holes and screw that panel. And then you do the same on this side. Put these two panels together, put the front end of this one there with the lip, match the hole, don't put a screw yet, then push this end in, fasten here, and only then the rear panel goes there, and then the holes on this panel match the holes on this panel and match the hole on the and match the clip in the back. That's tricky, so you have to use an owl to line them up, but then you put the screws on and everything works. John has the panel for here at home. He was taking care of it, and then we have piece of carpet that is gonna go on top. So I'm just gonna put everything in the trunk now for him, and I'm gonna close it so we don't drain the battery. Of course I tested the lights already to make sure that they work, because you know, we might have pulled a wire off from the tail lights or something, but yeah, they work. So I think we are officially done. No, there's one more thing that I have to do. This is what I mean. We have a USB cable here going through the dash and inside here, and when you need it you can just pull as much as you want, plug it in wherever you want, and when you don't need it you can push it back in. It's not self-retracting, I'm sorry, but it's pretty easy to push it back in and hope that it doesn't wrap around something inside, so next time you pull it out it doesn't make a mess. But that's all it goes. That's how it goes. And I figured there's one more thing that we need to do. They never finish, you know. These were the buttons on this top cover, so I removed them all and I'm replacing them now with these buttons. So that's the other thing that I wanted to do. There you go. Now it is installed, but I had to pull it out in the sun and let it heat nicely, because even this cover was shrunk pretty well. But I was able to snap all the buttons, and now I'm gonna let it sit here for a while so it relaxes, and then I'm gonna keep it on and I'm gonna pull it inside in the shade, and hopefully it's gonna cool down in this stretched version. So that's it. Tomorrow I'm gonna just give it a good wash, inside, outside, everywhere, and she's gonna be ready to be delivered. I'm sure John is excited. I'm excited too. Yeah, don't look too close now because she's dusty and dirty. I'm gonna show her to you tomorrow when she's clean. All right, today is the day. We cleaned her up and she's ready to go meet her owner finally. So I don't do that often, but with this project it's been here for almost a year, and before that it's been with me for 3 or 4 years, I don't remember, in the other shop. So I owe it to John. I'm gonna go and deliver it to him. Actually, I'm gonna go pick him up and then he's gonna drive me back home with this car so we can have, come on, so he can drive it a little bit with me in the car. He's about 1.5 hours away from me, so that's gonna be a good experience. First of all, I'm gonna give it a good test drive, and then John is gonna give it a good test drive with me in the car. So, like I said, she's ready to go. It's a really hot day outside, but we have the top down. I have water, and yeah, ready to go. Let's get crack-a-lacking. So this is her first official trip after a long restoration. So you see she's at 65,041 miles. So we can go at 65 and call that 0. That's the beginning of her new life. It's hot today, but unfortunately can't drink beer, but I can do this. If you are ever in Bolton, Ontario, stop at this store, Happy Days, over there, and fantastic ice cream. I love it. All right, we're back in the Rusty Beauties shop. We drove back with John, the happy customer.
Loving it.
He's happy.
From the master Elin.
Yeah.
A true Rusty Beauty.
Absolutely. One of the first Rusty Beauties that got that name. So it did how much? 145 almost. We were 65,041 miles. Now we are 65,151. So we did 110 miles round trip, and she drove fantastic, sounded great, absolutely no issues. We loved it. So Joan is picking up from here, and that's the last time we see her as a project. The next time we see her, we will be just for maintenance, I guess.
Final maintenance and adjustment.
I hope there's nothing serious that we need to see her for, just for maintenance.
Well, that's why I'm not paying you. We'll find out in 5 years.
Yeah.
I couldn't be happier.
Okay, let me pull the keys from the ignition. All right, so John is ready to go away. Enjoy!
I'm gonna love it, Elin. Thanks again.
Welcome. and he's gone. 11 months. 11 months and almost 200 hours later, he's gone. Of course we're gonna see him. We're gonna see him on British Car Day in 2 weeks from now, actually. We're gonna see how the car is performing. Hopefully everything is gonna be fine with it. And he needs to come and pick up some parts that are left over, and he's gonna be coming for regular maintenance. And there's few little things that we know that the car needs that I haven't finished now, but I just wanted him to take it so he can enjoy it for the rest of the season, because it's end of August now. Still has September, maybe October to drive it. So that's it. Look at this. The Rusty Beauties garage looks empty. There's no TR6 in it anymore. For the last 11 months there was always the 70 TR6 around. Well, now one of these baby might come inside. Well, we have other projects to do, but anyway, so it's a little bit nostalgic. That's the end of the last episode of the 1970 TR6. Hopefully. Hopefully it's the last. Hopefully there's nothing else. But anyway, so that's gonna be everything for today and for this series, guys. Thank you for watching, commenting, subscribing, sharing and supporting the channel. If you liked this series and my other content, please consider subscribing if you haven't subscribed yet, and maybe you can also support me a little bit, because these videos take a lot of time to edit and the revenue from YouTube is not fantastic. Anyways, you can find ways to support me in the description below. You can use PayPal, you can use Patreon, you can use many other ways. It is up to you. But even if you're just watching my videos and sharing, that's also a big help. So thank you, guys. I will see you with another project. Bye.